Hello everyone, you're on vrm24.com channel, and today we're going to assemble Samsung Galaxy A26. First we need to remove the SIM card tray. To do that, we use a SIM eject tool, insert it into the hole and carefully push the tray out. If the tray doesn't come out easily, we can additionally use tweezers. Next we need to heat the surface of the back cover to approximately 70 degrees Celsius or 160 degrees Fahrenheit. We're using a heating pad for this, but you can also use a hair dryer. And after about 10 minutes we can proceed with removing the back cover. We use a thin plastic film inserted into the gap between the back cover and the mid frame and carefully slide it along the edge, cutting through the adhesive. As always, be careful around the camera area so you don't accidentally touch or damage the lenses. Also be careful around the side buttons, since there may be flex cables located there. And of course, don't insert the plastic film too deep under the back cover, since we don't know what components are positioned there. So we carefully work our way around the edge, cutting through the adhesive layer. There is no need to rush or try to force the cover open, as it could crack. At some point we can lift off the back cover. As we can see, there are no components attached to the back cover. After that, it is best to cover the camera lenses. We use a protective film for this. Please note that the film should be applied not on the lenses themselves, but on the rim around them. Next we move on to removing the screws from the upper section. We use a 1.5mm Phillips screwdriver or a Phillips #30. If the screws are difficult to remove, we can use a magnetizer. If they are hard to pick up, we can also use tweezers. Then we need to remove the cover with antenna traces. Carefully lift it by the edge. It is better not to use a metal tool to avoid shorting anything on the motherboard. We also disconnect the battery connector using a non-metal tool. And we can disconnect the connector for the fingerprint sensor as well. Next we move to the lower section. In the lower part we also remove the screws. It looks like all the screws are the same. However, it is better to keep the screws from the lower section separate from the previous ones. Now we can remove the cover. Carefully lift it at the correct point and remove the cover with the speaker. Then we need to disconnect the connectors. We disconnect the interconnect flex cable connectors on the subboard. We disconnect the interconnect flex cables connectors on the motherboard. And please note that there is an arrow on the flex cable indicating the direction toward the motherboard. Then we move the cable aside. After that we disconnect the two coaxial cable connectors. Carefully release the cables themselves from the clip securing them on the subboard. We also need to peel off the display flex cable with its connector. Carefully lift it at the correct point and peel it off. Next we need to remove the one screw securing the subboard. We use the same 1.5mm Phillips screwdriver or Phillips #30. By the way, this screw is different from the previous ones, so it is better to keep it separate. And now we can remove the subboard. Carefully lift it at the edge in the correct spot, raise it up and take out the subboard. The subboard contains the charging port, microphone and other components on the reverse side. And now for our traditional quick microphone opening test. The microphone hole is located in the display frame and has an L-shaped design. On the back side there is a gasket or membrane. The microphone body itself is located on the reverse side of the subboard. If we insert something into the microphone opening, we won't be able to damage the microphone itself this way, but we might damage the gasket though. And the vibration motor remains in the display frame. Now we move on to the motherboard. On the motherboard we disconnect one rear camera that can be removed. And we can also disconnect the front camera. Carefully lift it by the edge, disconnect the connector and remove it. It is best to cover the camera lens to prevent dust or debris from getting on it, and set the camera aside. We also need to disconnect the coaxial cable connectors. So we disconnect the connectors. Next we need to remove one screw that secures the motherboard. We carefully remove this screw. Please note that this screw is different from the ones in the upper section, so it is better to keep it separate. Now we remove the motherboard. Flip it over, disconnect the rear cameras and set them aside. As for the microphone opening, in the upper section the situation is exactly the same. An L-shaped opening with a gasket or membrane on the other side. The microphone body is located on the back side of the motherboard. If we insert something into the microphone opening, we won't be able to damage the microphone itself this way, but we might damage the gasket though. And finally, we move on to remove the battery. We need to peel back the two blue pull tabs, remove the white transparent film and pull the tab in the center to detach the battery. And traditionally for Samsung nothing happens, because the battery is stuck, glued down or adhered on the one side. This regularly happens with the Samsung models that use this type of adhesive under the battery. So we need to carefully pry up one edge to find where the battery is stuck. Gently lift it. It is better not to use a metal tool to avoid accidentally damaging the battery casing. There is no need to use force so as not to damage anything. Carefully try lifting it. And we successfully tear off the pull tab, but detach the battery. Don't worry, we can glue the tab back later without any problem. So that completes the disassembly. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in our next videos, either on our Telegram channel or on our website.
Okay guys, now we're done. Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, read our articles on our website. Take care of yourself and until next video.